Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. For those who are new here, my name is Katerina and I make handmade cards and consider subscribing. So today's card is again one of those for which you don't need any major stamps or dies. I'm staying with the theme of cactus and summer, and this time I'm going to draw cacti silhouettes at sunset, nothing complicated, perfect for beginners. You will need watercolors, watercolor cardstock, brushes, and also something to create the stars. I'm using here gouache, but acrylic paints or white gel pen would also do. And to paint the cacti, I'm using a black alcohol marker because I just find it easier to use compared to paints. I taped my cardstock onto a board using a painter's tape and I started painting the sky. I actually had a specific look in mind. The time of the evening when the sun did not fully set yet, but you can already see the stars. I started with light blue, or more like mid-tone blue, and I covered half of the panel. And then I took the yellow, which is like orangey yellow, and I covered the bottom part of the panel. I left a little bit of gap between the blue and the yellow because I didn't want those two colors to be mixing. There are so many options when it comes to sunset sky. You can of course follow my color combinations, but you can find some pictures or paintings and follow those. Originally I wanted to use pink, but it wasn't mixing well with the blue. I also tried adding purple to have sort of a transitional color, but it wasn't mixing well with the blue either. So I just kept it blue and yellow. As you see, I applied a second layer of the blue and yellow and then I let it fully dry. After the piece was dry, I added few stars. I wanted them only over the blue part, so I covered the yellow section with a paper towel. For the stars, I used gouache mixed with a little bit of water, but you can also use white acrylic paint or white gel pen. I dabbed my brush in the paint and dabbing my finger on the brush, I sprinkled few droplets over the panel. And also I used the tip of the brush to add a few stars here and there. I let it dry and then I started removing the painter's tape and then I remembered, hey, I still need to paint the ground, so I put the painter's tape back. I used a black alcohol marker to paint the ground because I knew I wanted to use the marker for the cacti and I wanted those to have the same intensity. If I used watercolors for the ground would be lighter than the cacti. For the cacti, I first used a pencil to draw an outline and then I filled it up with the black marker. You can of course use watercolors for all of it, just keep in mind it won't be as intense. But the main reason I decided to use the markers is when I use paints and brushes, I often mess up. My hand is just not steady. And the marker worked perfectly when I used it on the card with the abstract painting where I painted black leaves, so I thought I will use it here again. The black alcohol marker I'm using here is from Altenew, but I'm sure you can also use a Sharpie. I painted two cacti, or do you say cactuses? I'm pretty sure the correct plural of cactus is cacti. Let me know in the comments. The cactus on the right is the main cactus. I made it a little bit bigger and gave it more branches. And the second cactus is pretty much a replica of the cactus I painted on my previous card with another abstract painting, which I absolutely love. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out. I also added a little bit of grass here and there using a fine liner, but this is optional. To make it into a card, I picked a card base that I pre-made from a craft cardstock, and I also picked a sentiment that I also pre-made. It's a banner with a happy birthday sentiment that I stamped on a black cardstock and I heat embossed it with a white embossing powder. However, the sentiment is also optional. I adhered the banner onto the card base using a double-sided tape, and the banner with the sentiment I adhered on top of the panel, also using a double-sided tape. So that's it for this video. I hope you like the card and will try something similar yourself. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, comment below, and of course, subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you like the idea of painting a cactus and would like to try another version, check out my previous video where I used acrylics to paint a cactus that was inspired by modern art. Or check out my other cards that I created without using any major stamps or dies. Thank you all so much for watching and I will see you in my next video.